The title of this book is The Chronicles of Xeric. It can be found only in the Arceuus house on the new continent of Zeah. Hope you guys enjoy this reading. Introduction. The Grand Library of the Great Kourend has verified and collated the following extracts from various historical texts and documents in order to form a factual timeline of events of life within Great Kourend under the rule of the Dark Mage, Xeric. Chapter 1. Source: Lovakenge Miner's Diary. Author: unknown. Date: 3316, 37. Summary: a local miner describes how his family could hear the attack that killed King Shazian VII. "'Twas a warm autumn evening as I returned home from the mine yesterday. Yet there was something cold in the air. I was looking forward to supper with my family as I stopped by the bank to store my pickaxe on the journey home. We lived on the southern peninsula of Lovakenge House. Quite a walk from the mine, but we enjoyed the peace that comes with being so close to the gates of the city. I had just arrived home when it began. The hollowing arrows through the air, deafening roars of soldiers as they were slain. Just outside the city gates, a fierce battle was waging, seemingly out of nowhere. We'd lived here for 6 decades now, and we'd seen enough training exercises to know this was real. Life wasn't exactly easy in Kourend under King Shazian, but this was new. I gathered the family, and we held each other, fearing the battle could extend to our home. And then, as swiftly as it began, it was over. The intense clashes of shields fell silent just for a moment before we heard powerful cheers. It wasn't until this morning that we heard the news. King Shazian himself had fallen in battle, ambushed by his own army of elder warriors. At first, we didn't know how to feel. 5 decades of torment and struggle under his rule had come to an end. I started to remember life before, as a child, where we could freely walk the city without fear of being summoned to the king for his leisure experiments. But then it crumbled away. Once again, our peaceful corner of the world transformed into a harmony of sudden screams and cries. Rumors spread like wildfire. A new ruler had emerged by the name of Xeric. Some say it was King Shazian reborn. Some say it was his evil spirit returned to avenge his death. We'd even heard that whoever it was, they weren't human. All we knew was life would never be the same. Chapter 2. Source: Letter to the Residents. Author: Lord Arceuus VIII. Date: 3325, 37. Summary: a letter from Lord Arceuus to the residents of the house urging them to leave Great Kourend for fear of Xeric's power. Dear residents, I must firstly apologize for my absence in recent days. I have been forced to conceal myself during these troubling times. You must all be made aware of the dangers you all currently face, for Xeric is a threat to you all, even more so than King Shazian was. Our recent studies of the Dark Altar suggest the energy within it can be harnessed to control and mutate the living, and we believe this being known as Xeric has, through means unknown, unlocked this power. Xeric is currently sweeping through our great kingdom, decimating all authority within. Lord Hasidius and Lord Lovakenge are missing and presumed lost in battle to Xeric. It is only a matter of time before I will fall to the same fate, and I do not wish for any of you to join me on this abrupt journey. It is with both great urgency and sadness that I implore you, please leave. You must evacuate Great Kourend. Xeric's forces will continue to advance. You must abandon your homes and head for Port Piscalaris in the hopes of finding transport elsewhere. I bid you all farewell. Radha's spirit be with you. Lord Arceuus the 8th, 3325 to 37. Court-martial hearing. Defendant, Sergeant Jan Matten. Charge, gross insubordination. Verdict, guilty. Sentence, execution. Sergeant Jan Matten is found guilty by plea of gross insubordination. Sergeant Matten refused to follow orders pertaining to the acquisition and delivery of civilians to the chambers of his lordship, Xeric, on the day of 3470 of 37. Sergeant Matten's actions provoked unrest amongst the unit, leading to all of the soldiers also refusing to follow the order. Sergeant Matten pleads guilty to the charge of gross insubordination, for which the sentence is execution by twisted archer. Sergeant Matten will be remanded in armed forces custody until a date for execution has been set. Signed, Captain Patey Rimor, Office of Armed Forces, 1479-38. Chapter 4. Source, Sailor's Journal. Author, Cabin Boy Horatio. Date, 2949-38. Summary. A cabin boy records how he saw a lizard-human-like creature while sailing near Mount Quidamortum. I don't believe what I've just seen. I can't believe it. They looked like lizards, but they were acting like humans. Slimy, white lizards, but they stood tall and walked like we do. Some of them even had weapons. What if they attack us? The mountain isn't very far from Kourend. I'm too scared to tell anyone what I saw. Is it possible my eyes deceived me? Have I had too much rum? The captain will have me walk the plank if he thinks I'm messing around. Chapter 5. Source, Personal Letter. Author, unknown. Date, 1/39. Summary. A civilian explains to their brother how lizardmen sweep the streets, snatching people. Dearest brother, I hope this letter finds you able and well. Forgive me for not being with you for the Decade Dawn gathering, but I'm afraid we have very little to celebrate. I am writing this letter during the first sunrise of this decade, and while the sun burns bright in the sky, our world remains very dark indeed. It is with great sorrow that I must tell you our sister Morta has been taken. It happened 3 days ago during the most recent gathering by lizardmen creatures. We were plowing the fields as we heard them approaching. I was able to get back inside and hide, but Morta was too far away. They snatched her before I could do anything. I am sorry. Please remain safe, and I hope to be with you again soon. Love, Harold. Chapter 6. Source, Xampher's Notes. Author, Xampher. Date, 40th Decade. Summary. Xampher, Xeric's closest comrade, is known to have kept notes on various experiments. Here we see the first ever recorded mention of teleportation. Finally, a breakthrough. Decades of study and I've finally solved it. Teleportation can be achieved. Crystal alignment 72. Essence combination 99. Xeric must be informed at once. Chapter 7. Source: Hacks Group Letter. Author: unknown. Date: 2007, 43. Summary: a letter to the members of a resistance group at the height of Xeric's reign. Fellow remaining members of Humans Against Xeric. We have failed. Our recent attempt to storm the Tower of Magic and defeat Xeric resulted in a loss of all 200 members involved. I fear we may not be able to recover from this loss. I call upon all remaining members to gather and discuss the available options urgently. The meeting will convene at the usual location at high noon on 2009-43. Be there. Chapter 8. Source: King Byron's coronation speech. Author: King Byron the First. Date: 339-47. Summary: a snippet of King Byron's coronation speech 1 week after he sparked a successful revolution against Xeric. My fellow citizens, rejoice, for we the people of Great Kourend have reclaimed our kingdom. However, for all that we have gained today, we have suffered many losses in our yesterday. We must unite as we have done this week and continue to work together, not just to rebuild our kingdom, but to recover our civilization. For 10 decades, we have been oppressed, and in just 7 short days, we have driven Xeric and his lizard men beyond our city and destroyed the altar of darkness from which they drew their power. Imagine what we could achieve with 10 decades of our own. Alright guys, and we've reached the end of the Chronicles of Xeric. I hope you guys found that story interesting. A little bit of a history of Great Kourend. One thing that I think I'd find interesting is learning how those brave souls were able to drive Xeric out of their land. Because that doesn't really seem to be answered, and Xeric, as powerful as he seems to be, at least from the other text I've read, specifically those from raids, it just doesn't make all that much sense right now. But maybe the answer will be held in one of the future books, or quite possibly it might not be answered at all, and we might have to wait for more lore to be introduced to the game and written into the game in order to find out by what means Xeric was defeated this time in the last battle mentioned in this audiobook. Well, see you next time, guys. Peace.